Start on time. Okay, I guess we're past 5 o'clock, so I should get started. So I guess you've all got your packets and you're all signing in. If you can leave anything that you need to leave for me on the table, that'd be the first and second in the packet. If you've done that before, there's no need to do it again. Okay. So today's class is process to progress. Processed foods on to, hopefully, a progression to better eating. And it's all about investing in your wellness, investing in you. It's not about me. It's all about investing in yourselves. So we're going to look at a guide to personal wellness. There'll be a health quiz, a nutri-physical, and most of this is in your packet. So if you miss something I say, most of it I've tried to cover in the packets. There's a lot of information in these classes, so that's why I put packets together so you can go home and maybe look through the packets, and if you have any questions, you're quite welcome to text me is the best way. So anybody remember what homework was last week? I sent homework out. I don't think anybody probably remembered, but we're going to go over it. It's on page 7, or it's the 7th piece in your packet. So I thought I'd add that in today so you could all see what that looked like. Anyway, I'm just going to read my introduction. Most of you know who I am. But I'm Julie Leibold, RN, naturopathic wellness coach, and then franchise owner with marketamericashop.com. And like I've said in the past 2 classes, I know this company for 33 years. I believe in this company. I believe in the naturopaths and the science that they put forth and all the research that they do in the departments to bring us the best quality supplementation, maybe for the gaps in our nutrition. So Market America is a product brokerage company. It was founded in 1992 by J.R. Reidinger. He pioneered the way for the delivery of the finest nutraceuticals and cosmeceuticals in the world. They are backed by science and have revolutionized the health and wellness industry for over 30 years, actually 33 years. The company is built on product and powered by people like myself. The current CEO, Lauren Reidinger, was just recognized at the White House a couple of months back by the MAHA movement for his success in promoting wellness and changing lives. And this company is going to continue for a long, long time. Sadly, J.R. Reidinger died from a clot to the lung after a COVID shot. He was in his 60s, and his biggest concern was, what are we going to do between the time we are born and the time we die, the dash? What are we going to be known for? And he is well known around the world for his attention to people's health. And that's a great legacy to have left. And his wife is stepping in his place to take over the mission of the company. So, homework. Like I said, we talked about the clean 15 and the dirty dozen. And those are the clean foods that we can eat, and there's dirty foods that we need to be aware of. And that is in your packet. You can read that too whenever you have the time to do that. So a question I have for you today is, why did you come? And if you've missed the previous 2 classes, we talked about sleep. We talked about detoxification of the body and a little bit about the mind after the kind of culture we're living in right now and the sadness that we've all witnessed over the last couple of weeks. We need to detox our minds and think about what we say to each other and what we want people to hear from us. And we should always be mindful of that and try to detoxify those words. We can detoxify the body maybe easier than we can our words. I think I read last week that Proverbs says death is by the tongue. So we need to be very mindful. So what is your why? Maybe you want to write this down and make a goal. What is your why for yourself? I would say, or wouldn't you agree, it is the driving force that brings you the strength to overcome obstacles, the passion to achieve your goals and dreams, and the purpose to live life fully. Wouldn't you agree we all need to explore our why, our purpose in this life? Okay. I'm just going to briefly go over the packet, which you all should have. The first page is the one that I need back, first and second. It's the health survey, thinking of you, your family, your friends that might need some help in their health goals. The next 3 pages are about blood sugar, insulin, and glycemic index. Whether you're diabetic or not, your blood sugar plays a crucial role in your body's wellness and health. There's another one there about blood sugar basics. These are not all from my company, and some of them are a little dated, so some of the information may not be 100%. But the next one is about choosing organic, a better choice for our progression into a healthier diet. And it shows the 2024 Dirty Dozen and the 2024 Clean 15. A couple of swaps for GI living. That's moving from foods that impact our blood sugar at a certain level and moving up into foods that maybe don't have such an impact to keep us in a more fat-burning zone. The issue at the bottom, those meals are no longer available. We have to create our own. So that's one of the dated pieces of information that's there. The TLS website is gone and is being recreated into GoTrim, which was a branding for the company recently. There's a couple of items in here about fat and how important it is to see how much fat we're taking in. There's also a power shake coming into the holiday season. I've got a pumpkin shake up here, and that's just a little recipe should you want to go that way. Investing in wellness, have it your way. If you go to the Give Back Hope website, which is the youth home in Malawi, they have a website that you can go to and put in a free account and take a health quiz if you so desire. And you can also take a Nutri-Physical. And both of those, if you're candid and honest with yourself of how you live your life, you'll get the answers that you want and what you should do to fill the gaps in your nutrition. There's also an invite to a wellness event. There's a date on there that says June 20th, 7 p.m., that my number is on there. But if you want to have your own wellness event at your own church or your group or a women's group, please let me know and I'll come and facilitate that for you. And actually the growtrim.com site is a particular website all about fat loss. You can purchase products if you want to go that route. It's entirely up to you. Off the Give Back Hope site, but all the information that you need to be successful in fat loss, weight loss, is on the GoTrim site. There's recipes, exercise programs, and pretty much anything you need there to make you successful. Okay. I think I'm going to go and start now with the presentation, and you'll follow it up here. I'm sorry I can't always look that way, so because I'm being recorded, so we're just going to do the best with that. So from process to progress, a journey to better health. There is a disclaimer, which is very small for me, so I'm just going to read it from over here. Oh, actually, it's not there. Okay. The statements in the presentation have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration or the FDA, which we're all familiar with. Market America's products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease, and neither is anything I say personally. We just want to make sure that you're aware of that because the FDA does monitor and control some of the things that we do. So if you look at the processed food landscape, a new reality, this is one of the typical stores that we would go into shop. Processed foods are drastically different from what our ancestors ate, and I think we can all agree with that. Many modern foods didn't even exist 20 to 50 years ago. And this is in the news now with the Maha movement, if you ever follow that. But they're actually trying to highlight some of the bad foods that have been put inside of other foods to cause us to be addicted to certain items, like gluten in bread. It's very addictive. I can't have it because I'm celiac. And the gluten causes problems for my body. Sorry, I'm having trouble reading my slide here. I'm sorry. So each step towards healthier choices makes a difference over time. You can't always change things overnight. Our bodies didn't get to the state they're in 24 hours. Our body got to the state they're in over years and years and years. But here's an opportunity that I'm sharing again to maybe make some simple changes. If you can just change one thing, just one thing that you do, whether it's pre-toxing your kitchen, throwing away those foods that could cause problems, and then going on to a complete detox, which you can do seasonally, just to give you a better chance of having that quality of life that you deserve. Thank you. The processed food landscape, a new reality. These are some food classifications. I'm not going to go into detail, but unprocessed or minimally processed foods, processed culinary ingredients, processed foods, and ultra-processed foods. And if you ever look at the ingredients on the back of a packet, you will be surprised what's in some of the foods that we eat. Hydrogenated oils, corn syrup, things that are really addictive. And you know, sugar follows the heroin pathway in the brain, so some of these things are so addictive, it's hard to get off them. And that's why I chose next week maybe to look at Bondage Broken, which is my last class of the 4, which is looking at why we are stuck in bondage to the things that we've been doing for a long, long time, and why we can't move beyond that. And it's a spiritual thing. It's going to talk about the flesh versus the spirit, and hopefully we can come to an understanding of why we are stuck. You know, we have had many lies given to us, not just by the government or the food industry, but even by the devil, and we all know this. And he chooses to destroy some of the things we think about and put lies in their place. So we have to be very careful. And once I talked about detoxifying the mind last week, that is extremely important. So the impact of ultra-processed foods, we're saying like 60% of the food that we eat is ultra-processed, which is not good. Our ancestors didn't eat that, and our bodies weren't created to consume that. Ultra-processed foods are defined by their long ingredient list, including additives, preservatives, and artificial sweeteners. Dietary shifts over the past decades have led to an increase in these foods, and processed foods now account for over 60% of the average diet. So I just want you to be aware. Sometimes we're not aware of what we do. We're not mindful. They asked a gentleman once that was sitting at McDonald's, "Why do you come in here every day and eat 3 cheeseburgers?" And his response was, "I don't know, I've done it for years." He wasn't even aware of what he was doing until somebody challenged that and said, "But why? All the fat content in the cheese, the bread, that's not good for you." And he went home and thought, well, why do I do that? And sometimes we just have to be challenged a little to think about why we do the things we do. So we're overfed. Particularly Americans are overfed and undernourished. And my husband is Hungarian, he will attest to this. The first time we went to Britain 30-some years ago, a lot of the restaurants that we have here were not seen over there. There was an odd McDonald's maybe, and now we have all the chains, the Burger Kings, the McDonald's, everything in processed food you could possibly think of. And British people weren't usually overweight, and now it's the same as we have here in the United States. We're eating processed foods, and we're undernourished and overfed. So calorie-dense, nutrient-poor, that means these foods have a lot of calories, but they have no nutrition for us. Processed foods are often high in calories, but lack the essential vitamins, minerals, and proteins that are essential to our quality of life. Nutrient-rich whole foods. These are whole foods that provide the essential nutrients our bodies need for optimum health and well-being. So what's really in our food? And I mentioned high fructose corn syrup. This common sweetener is often hidden in processed foods. If you want to go home this evening and take something out of your pantry and take a look and see what's in some of the things that you're consuming, you'd be amazed at what's in there. Artificial sweeteners. These sweeteners are often marketed as sugar-free, but can disrupt gut health and lead to sugar cravings. Trans fats. These are unhealthy fats, and they are found in many processed foods and contribute to poor heart health. And additives and preservatives. These chemicals are used to extend shelf life and enhance taste, but can have negative health impacts. Our ancestors didn't eat this way, for sure. So how ingredients have changed then versus now. If you were to look at a packet of food today and look to see what's in it, you'll see a long, long list of all the things that are in the food. Years ago, those lists didn't exist. And I'm just going to kind of not talk about each slide and read it verbatim, but just some of the ingredients in our cereals even, which our kids eat every morning. carnation breakfast, cereals. By the time they get to school, they're starting to need more sugar because their blood sugars are up and down and all over the place. So they're starting to need way more sugar to feed the brain. So they go on this cycle of a blood sugar up and down, and that's not healthy. That's when fat storage occurs and the body holds on to what it has, and that's not good for us. In other countries, a lot of the additives that we see here are not written on the back of the cereal boxes. So it's pretty obvious that we have been led into maybe 20, 30 years of all these additives to make us more addictive to the foods that we eat. So it would behoove us maybe to go back home and look at some of the things that are in your pantry and just read the label and also read the serving size, because sometimes the label will tell you what's in there, but the serving size is maybe only 1 cup, and we're consuming the whole thing, which may be 4 times. So that's 4 times all the calories, 4 times the fat, and that's just something to be aware of. So ingredients have changed over the years, then versus now. Most people baked their own bread 60 years ago. It contained simple ingredients like flour, water, yeast, and salt, and it didn't stay fresh very long. Today, most commercially available breads contain high fructose corn syrup, seed oils, preservatives, and emulsifiers, shelf-stable for several weeks. And I think that's been proven. I think somebody found a Twinkie out there somewhere that was like 40, 50 years old, and it was still in good shape. So that pretty much tells us something is trying to preserve that item, and that's not good for our bodies. Our bodies were meant to have the chemicals and the emulsifiers. Body can't break it down. So how does processed food impact our health? Lifestyle-related health changes. Processed foods have attributed to a rapid rise in various health conditions. We've got the obesity, we've got the diabetes, weight gain and difficulty losing weight. Processed foods are calorie-dense but nutrient-poor, making it difficult to maintain a healthy weight. Even a white potato, which is a simple carb, is 45 grams of sugar. You may as well just stick your tongue in a sugar bowl. A sweet potato would be somewhat of an alternative, and there are some alternatives in your packets. Poor digestion. Processed foods can disrupt digestion. A lot of people do not eliminate like they should. Their body is a flow system and they don't flow. It's because some of these things that they're eating is disrupting the natural health of the gut. Impact on mental health and energy levels. Do you know one of the biggest reasons people go to the doctor is because they don't have any energy? Processed food can negatively impact mental health and energy levels. But marketing is everywhere. If we were to step outside here and just drive home, we'd see advertisements for food. I think one of the local stores that Gary and I go to sometimes, Red Robin, up on the wall it said, I think it said, sugar is food and it's good. Well, kids are looking at that, something to that verbiage, and thinking that it's okay to drink a huge smoothie full of sugar, eat fries. We all do it. But we're just teaching generation after generation that it's okay to eat this way. Marketing power. Processed food marketing is powerful and shapes our perception of healthy eating. Messages often focus on convenience, affordability, and taste. Marketing campaigns target our emotions, exploiting our desires for quick fixes and indulgence. Seems almost satanic, isn't it, to have them actually market our emotions and exploiting our desires. Misleading labels. These messages downplay the long-term health consequences of processed foods. They create an illusion of healthy choices using misleading labels and packaging. Somebody just take a look at some of the packages, and you'll be amazed at what's in some of these foods. And then we look at portion distortion. The portion size of processed foods have increased dramatically over the past 20 years. We often, Gary and I, go out to eat together and we'll share a meal and we'll still bring food home. I just can't consume that much food in one sitting. Processed food disrupts hunger hormones like leptin and ghrelin, leading to overeating and constant cravings. These foods bypass natural satiety signals which tell you you're full. Your leptin signal is the one that tells you I'm full, stop eating, you're satisfied. but some of those senses have been disrupted by the bad foods that we eat, and no longer does the brain get the message to stop eating. So we continue to eat, and then we consume way too much. These food bypass natural satiety signals, leaving you feeling hungry despite large portions. Larger portions and excess calories reduce insulin sensitivity, contributing to weight gain and long-term overeating, making it harder to regulate hunger and maintain healthy eating habits. So that's the downside of the processed foods for sure. I mean, we're gaining weight, our blood sugars are all over the place, we're in fat storage, but it's very disruptive, and that's because portion sizes are really, really off. And that's the difference than what happened many, many years ago. Excess sodium in processed foods, a hidden threat. Sodium overload. Processed foods are loaded with sodium or salt to enhance flavor and preserve shelf life. Processed salt is stripped of beneficial minerals and contains additives. You're not getting a straight product. We all have a pantry. There's some great spices in your pantry. You can have turmeric or curcumin, sage, rosemary. There's lots of spices that could take the place of salt. Pink Himalayan salt would be a better choice if you just need that taste of salt. The health risks. The standard American diet, or was known as the SAD diet, the standard American diet leads to excessive sodium intake, raising health risks. And you can see some of the items up here that have extra salt within them. So why today's fruits and vegetables aren't as nutrient dense? When we actually go in further into the presentation, you'll see the way our foods are brought to the table. So modern farming practices, including overuse of pesticides, herbicides, and genetically modified seeds, contribute to declining nutrient levels in fruits and vegetables. Soil depletion from intensive agriculture also plays a role. The result is a decline in the nutritional value of produce, leaving many people with nutrient deficiencies despite consuming a healthy diet. Just not the same as it was. Why today's fruits and vegetables aren't as nutrient dense? They're picked early for shipping. Fruits and vegetables are often harvested before they ripen to survive a long-distance transport, limiting nutrient development. So if we pick a tomato that's not ready, it's sometimes white inside and it has no flavor. I just picked one off my tomato plant. It's red, and it's juicy, and it's really tasty. So that's the difference, because it's coming more organically. Chemical ripening. Produce is treated with chemicals like ethylene gas to artificially ripen and improve appearance for store shelves. Nobody wants to go to the store and buy something that doesn't look like something you'd like to eat. So they make them look good by using ethylene gas. Nutrient loss from shipping. Long-distance shipping further depletes nutrients due to storage conditions and time in transit. So this is the food that shows up at our grocery store. Our food is becoming less nutritious. Changes in food composition for 43 garden crops, and this is just a little graph on the side here. And basically what it's saying is nutrient concentrations in common crops have declined by 5 to 40% over the last 50 years due to factors like soil depletion and the focus on higher crop yields. Spinach has lost 60 to 80% of its iron and calcium. It's deemed a healthy food. Broccoli contains half the calcium compared to 1970. Oranges have seen a 30% drop in the vitamin C levels, and apples are lower in magnesium and zinc. So this is what's happening when we have processed foods at this level. The dilution effect from modern farming practices means that while crop sizes have increased, their nutrient density has decreased, reducing essential minerals like calcium and iron in many fruits and vegetables. So even when we think we're eating healthy and we're choosing those foods that we think are more maybe on the healthier spectrum, there's many gaps in our nutrition. That's why the science and the naturopaths that I work with are suggesting that we supplement for those gaps. So the case for choosing organic foods, there is a pesticide reduction. Organic foods offer fewer pesticides and chemicals, promoting a healthier diet. The nutrient quality. Some studies suggest organic foods contain higher levels of vitamins and minerals, supporting overall well-being. Whole and processed foods often contain more vitamins and minerals than processed options, supporting better overall health. Soil health. Organic farming practices improve soil quality, contributing to a sustainable food system. And then there's the Dirty Dozen, which is in your packet. Prioritize organic options for the Dirty Dozen produce, which have the highest pesticide residues. And I think there's the list right there. It's in your packet. It's about the 7th one in. These fruits and vegetables tend to have the highest levels of pesticide residues when conventionally grown. If you're concerned about pesticide exposure, prioritize buying these items organically, and it just gives you a list of the Dirty Dozen. Last week, you talked about detoxifying the body, and this would be something to look at to get those pesticides out. Then you've got the Clean 15. For these items, buying organic is considered less crucial because they have lower pesticide residue levels. These safe foods tend to have a tougher exterior skin of husk that is removed when prepared for eating. So not all salt is created equal. We're going back to processed salt. Only sodium and chloride. All other minerals are stripped away. Chemically treated and bleached may contain ammonia and aluminum. Processed over and over, heated to 1200 degrees. Natural salts like pink Himalayan sea salt retain their mineral content with 78 trace minerals and elements that support hydration, electrolyte balance, and overall body function. And I have a product down here called Tower Hydration. We are all about 80% dehydrated, no matter how much we drink. We're not getting the right amount of nutrients and hydration. So this Tower product has pink Himalayan salt. It has magnesium and potassium. Most hydration supplements do not have the magnesium. It seems to be a trend now to go to an IV clinic and just get an IV vitamin C or an IV of whatever you want. They're popping up everywhere. And actually, the isotonic that we talked about last week, supplements, are basically the efficacy of an IV. So these natural salts have no harsh chemicals, and they're raw and unprocessed. Why whole food eaters need to replenish electrolytes? It's very good for us to get our electrolyte balance. If our balance is off, then that is not good for us. And even to the point of being overhydrated, which doesn't happen often, but there are some disease processes where people will overhydrate, and it'll reduce their sodium levels and make them quite confused. So progress starts with simple swaps. Limit refined grains. Avoid refined grains as much as possible. Switch to whole grains like quinoa and oats. Replace sugary beverages. Replace sugary beverages with infused water or herbal teas. And by infused water, you can cut up a strawberry, a cucumber, a lemon, a lime, and infuse it into your water. And that would give you a better hydration. Choose fresh vegetables and fruits. Choose fresh over packaged snacks. We're a snack community. We all love our snacks, but they're full of bad things. If you take anything away from here, is when you go home or when you buy a snack, look underneath and see what's in it. And sometimes when you're even at a health food store, you can look and say, whoa, I've been at the counter sometimes and something's got something in it and it looks healthy, but it really isn't. So shop the perimeter. Shop the perimeter of grocery stores where fresh foods are more likely to be stocked. Be prepared. I think we've all been in situations like potluck today where there's food out and you're not prepared to eat the healthy that you wanted because it's not there. There were green beans today, that was great. But a lot of times the foods that we bring to parties, events, or even at workplace, somebody will bring a tray of cookies and we're like, oh, great, I can have a cookie. Be prepared. Maybe have a snack in the refrigerator at work, at school. Just have something else prepared, whether it's celery and some peanut butter or some carrots. But just have something else prepared so that you're not going to sabotage your choice of eating healthy. If you do, oh well, get up the next day and move on. Try again. We don't have to beat ourselves up over this at all. So read labels for hidden sugars and unhealthy fats. And an unhealthy fat would be something that's hydrogenated, which means it's been altered. So fuel the day with a Go Trim nutrition shake. I have that up here. It is pumpkin spice. If that's something you feel that would help you on your journey, that would fill some of the gaps in your nutrition, that would be a meal replacement. If you're in a situation where you're rushing to work and you haven't made something to take, you could whip up a smoothie maybe with a protein shake. It's got 19 grams of protein and 10 grams of fiber, and it'll keep you full. So hopefully you won't be looking for those snacks that you crave because you're already full. It has 24 essential vitamins and minerals, and again last week, essential was something the body doesn't make, so we have to take. It's balanced nutrition for road warriors and busy professionals. So there are ways to create the success that you're looking for. You can create your own success in life by learning what it is you need to know and then following those directions. Do your own research. Not everything I say should be taken as gospel. I'm following what the company tells me is the research that they've done for this, but do your own research. Find out what works for you. Not every one of us is going to be the same. Some people skip meals and they feel that's good for them, but really we should be eating a balanced diet. No added sugar, a healthier alternative to sugary snacks and drinks, supporting blood sugar. And our blood sugar is very, very important because that's what causes the highs and lows and messes up our metabolism and alters those hormones like ghrelin, which is the growl hormone, I call it. It just tells us we're hungry when our bellies growl. That's how I remember ghrelin. And leptin is the one that tells us we're full and we need to stop eating. Convenient and tasty, perfect for quick meals or snacks, available in 2 delicious flavors. Well, now they have 3 because of the holiday. I'm not going to read the actual benefit of that, but you can always look at it and search it on the Go Trim site. Learn healthy eating with the Go Trim lifestyle system, and this is also in your packet. I have a website that's all about fat loss. If you want to learn about it, you can sign in there, create an account if you want. If you don't, that's fine. There's recipes in there, there's downloads, there's videos to watch. So there's 12, maybe 15 videos in there. There's a Go Trim Facebook if you want to learn what other people are doing to get the success. Then you could go to that site and take a look. Whole foods-based meal plans, and all the recipes are written by dietitians, so I'm covered to share that, even as a nurse. I'm not a dietitian, so all the recipes that are on that website are written by dietitians, so we are covered. So this particular site is quite comprehensive. I would urge you to look at it or find a site similar to it. Anything you do to help with your fat loss, your weight loss, your health, would be a good start. But finding something that is sustainable that you could do over and over and over again is where you want to be. You don't want to yo-yo on your weight loss, because if you yo-yo, it destroys your metabolism and it's way more difficult then to get back on track. These are just success stories that people that have used the program. So like I said, supplementation, a necessity, not a luxury. What we are learning today is because of the additives and the pesticides and the poor processing of our food, there are gaps in our diet. So supplementation is being deemed now a necessity and not a luxury. I have a packet of daily essentials up here, and it's in this little box. And this is vitamin B, calcium, an antioxidant called pycnogenol, which is well researched, and a multivitamin, something that could start your day off really good. There's an electrolyte mix that I have up here, and also a protein for muscle repair, which is in the shake. Don't have to purchase any of those, not required, but it's just something if you are living a busy lifestyle and you can't see a way forward to change the way you operate, then maybe adding the supplementation to fill the gaps until you get to that point where you can either pre-tox, detox, or follow a healthier lifestyle. This Daily Essential Pack is a complete nutritional support. It has antioxidant protection, energy and mood balance, and a skeletal and cardiovascular support. So it kind of covers, that's why it's called a Daily Essential. And I like it because it's got vitamin B and calcium in there. And calcium is your dominant nerve controller. Mixed together, it's like getting a little energy shot, like a little stress cocktail, if you like. This just goes into the packets more and what they do. So I'm going to skip those. Last week we talked about detox, And you can support your digestion and your liver health by maybe doing a detoxification program. And most of you have heard about turmeric. This particular product is 8 times more potent than most turmeric products out there. It's called curcumin, and it is really beneficial for cleansing and detoxifying your body. Every choice you make matters. Small changes, big impact. So just think, what one thing could I do this week, or even tonight or tomorrow, that could change the impact for my life? And start with one thing. Don't get overwhelmed. I mean, my classes are intense. There's a lot of information, and it can be quite overwhelming. But just start with one thing. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I could do this week that would change the trajectory of my health, that would make me feel better? And most of us know what it is that we have to give up or change. Eat whole, unprocessed foods. Prioritize whole, unprocessed foods for optimal nutrition and health. Limit it to ultra-processed packaged foods. Reduce consumption of ultra-processed foods to minimize harmful ingredients and additives. And hopefully as the months and years go on, as the government's getting involved in the food packaging industry and what additives and pesticides are in there, we'll see a change in that environment too. But you can make the change yourself. You don't have to wait until that happens. And supplement wisely. Consider targeted supplements to fulfill nutritional gaps, and support overall well-being. Everyone is a potential client, and this slide is talking to me. We all share nutritional gaps, and I want to be able to transform people into a healthy lifestyle. The Seize the Day healing ministry came from looking at how unhealthy we are and crying out to the Lord and asking, Lord, you've given me gifts. What do you want me to do with them? First of all, I had to recognize the gifts, and then I had to ask him, what do you want me to do with these? And each time he comes back, he says, heal and help my people. How can I do that? This is the way I'm trying to perform those activities that the Lord put on my heart and try to transform people one at a time. So everybody is a client, if you want to call them a customer, a client. But hopefully I can reach those that are interested in wanting to make life a little better. I mean, we all want longevity, but I would assume that we all want quality over longevity. I mean, Gary Brecker is a human biologist, and he's out there talking about health and wellness on the news and wherever he can. And he says a lot of us are already dead, but we're still breathing. And we see that sometimes in some of the nursing homes. These people are there, they can't function, they can't think. I go up and shave a gentleman at the Groves twice a week. He's got about 5 words, some are not are of choice, but I do get a thank you once in a while. But he's just existing. So his longevity, there's no quality. He just lies there and stares at a blank TV because there's no noise. You're not allowed to have volume. So he's just staring at the screen. So essentially, his life is pretty much over. And I hate to say that, it hurts, because I can have interaction with him, but he's not functional. And I think that's what Gary Brecker means when he says, quality over longevity. Everyone I know is affected by the current food landscape, myself included. Even if our goals aren't specifically fitness or weight loss related, our bodies need fundamental and foundational support for essential nutrients, hydration, and protein. And it says, you are not just helping clients with specific goals, it's speaking to me. You are giving them the tools to build a solid foundation for lifelong health. And we want to be healthy. We have goals. We have dreams. We have things we want to do. Most parents and grandparents want to be with their children and chase their kids in the park. But we can't do it if we're not healthy. We can't serve the Lord if we're not healthy. So this is a big challenge to us. Your journey to progress starts now. Be the change. Start by adding more whole foods and supplements to your routine. Experience the transformation firsthand. I would encourage you to journal that. If you go to the GoTrim website and take the weight profile, you can scroll to the bottom and get your journal. It's $25, but it's free. You can download it, and you can start making a count of what you do every day. Live the lifestyle. Be a product of the product. Let your results, more energy, better health, speak for themselves. There may be somebody in your life that really needs this, and if you do it and you get success, they'll look to you and say, what are you doing? Inspire others. Share your journey. Your personal success will motivate those around you to take action. Listen and connect. as others share their health challenges, offer solutions. I've given you a lot of information over the last 2 weeks and into this third class. And you know I'm always here if you need me. Just text me and hopefully I can get to you. Just reach out to people and say, I was in a class today and I was thinking of you. You came to mind. And even on the survey, it talks about you, your family, your friends. It doesn't have to be you. If you feel like you're fit and healthy, that's fine. But maybe there's somebody in your life that you really need to reach out to. And sometimes they're not willing to accept that they need help. And I've got a gentleman out there like that right now. His wife has come to me several times, but he's not ready. He's not ready to make that shift. He's not ready to make that change. And until he's ready, it's not going to happen. And this comes to detoxifying the thoughts up here that he needs to overcome so he can come and get the help he needs. Stop eating, I hate to say that at the pulpit here, CRAP, let's do it that way. Carbonated drinks, deadly. Phosphates, not good for your kidneys. Refined sugars, like a regular potato, you may as well stick your tongue in a sugar bowl. Artificial foods and processed foods. So that kind of concludes my slideshow, but I do want us to do a little something too before we move on, and that would be to find well, I don't see it. Anyway, I'm going to do a little quiz, and then we'll go back to the packets maybe. So a low glycemic index eating is a rating of a food of 0 to 100, and it tells you what the impact of sugar would be on your body. So in the detox packets I gave out last week, there was a list of low glycemic, medium glycemic, and high glycemic. So understanding the glycemic impact of a food affects what? Anybody know? Blood sugar. I'm going to give you the answer. It affects your metabolism, and it affects how you burn fat. So eating healthy, nutritious foods eliminates high and lows in your blood sugar, gives you more energy. So if your blood sugars are constantly up and down, and if you look at the packets I gave out last week, you want to stay in fat-burning zone. You don't want this high and low. You want to stay like steady on your blood sugars, diabetic or not, so you can constantly be in fat-burning zone versus fat storage zone, and it burns fat. So anybody know what a low glycemic food would be? It would be a lean protein, a fruit, a vegetable, or a high-quality fat, like an avocado. Stable blood sugar levels will have what benefit? If your blood sugar is stable, what benefit is that to your body? Keeps your body balanced, improves energy, improves sleep, and improves how you react to stress. This Go Trim that is up here, it focuses on the low glycemic impact eating, which includes two things: the quality of the food and the quantity, and we talked about the portion sizes earlier. Some foods have a low glycemic index, but because of the amount you would most likely be eating in one sitting is considered to have a high impact on your blood sugar. That would be an M&M. It's low glycemic. So on the rating of 0 to 100, it has a low rating because you probably would not just eat one or two, you're going to probably eat a whole bag or a whole packet. The impact of that would make things more difficult. Alternatively, some foods have a higher glycemic index, and who would have known a carrot would have a high glycemic index, meaning on the rating of 0 to 100, it's in the higher category. However, to actually have an impact on your blood sugar, you'd have to eat probably a whole pan full, which you probably wouldn't do with one sitting. So this is science. It's not just a fad about wanting to eat healthy or go on a diet or lose weight. This is actually science. Does your body need sugar? Well, of course it does. Every cell in your body needs sugar. We talked about this a little bit earlier, and I don't think we mentioned this particular item, but what hormone does the pancreas release when you eat sugar to transport it into your cells? insulin. So every time you eat, insulin is squirted to transport that food into the cell. And then what hormone does the pancreas release? Sorry, we just asked you that one. What happens when your body consumes more sugar than it needs? Anybody got any idea? Your body will allow the extra sugar to be stored in your liver and muscles in case you need it later for energy. However, your liver muscles and cells can only store so much, and the excess goes to fat. So whereas we need sugar, if we consume too much and the body can't store it in our muscles and our liver, should we need it later on, it's going to go to fat. And that's where we see that increase in that visceral fat, usually around our gut. We did talk about this earlier. Which hormone controls how satisfied or full you feel? And this would be the hormone called leptin, which tells the brain, I'm full, stop eating. If you damage that sensor, then you're going to continue to eat over and over and consume way too much, and then you've destroyed that leptin response. Which hormone tells you that you are hungry? I talked about the growling hormone earlier, and that is ghrelin. So what is it called when you overeat and your body cannot tell that it is full until it's too late? Just talked about that. It's called leptin resistant, meaning that connection between the brain and your eating is gone. You may as well eat broccoli and chicken and think you're doing something healthy, but you need to stop eating. Even though those are healthy foods, your body's already full. What 3 things can leptin resistance cause? There's a downside of leptin resistance, and it's increased blood sugar levels, increased insulin being released, and weight gain. And most diabetics will check their blood sugar. They don't usually check to see how much insulin is circulating and cannot get into the cell. Another question, what happens when insulin resistance continues to occur? Blood sugar levels continue to rise, leptin resistance get worse, you have increased triglycerides, which you've ever been to the doctor and got those done, not good. Increased cholesterol and blood pressure, and the ultimate outcome of all that is type 2 diabetes. And this can be changed by lifestyle and diet, which is called epigenetics and expression of genes. So we can change that by the way we eat, the exercise. So it is up to us. You can create your own journey and your own success. With low glycemic impact eating, that means the quality and the quantity of the food, the right amount of food is eaten for physical activity. And those levels, some people are more physical than others, but the right amount of food is eaten for your physical activity needs. Sugar has a place in your cells. Insulin and leptin levels rise and fall in controlled manner, so overeating does not happen. So if you choose to look at the low glycemic index eating, then you will see this is the way forward to maybe have a better quality for your diet and for your health. You don't have excess sugar or insulin and are healthy and fit. Something to consider, right? I think that's really worth considering. So that about concludes my slideshow, and I thought somewhere in there, which didn't show, that there were some slides on how the food is actually processed. You show people on a farm, and you show the items of food going into trucks, and they're being actually gassed as they enter the trucks. So they're having that ethylene gas to keep them fresh by the time they get to the store. And a lot of people, we don't realize our food is dead by the time it gets to the store. It has no nutrient benefit for us at all, like green tea. It dies on the vine. If it doesn't come to the store at a certain time or processed a certain way, it's essentially not good for us. So when you're looking at what products to buy and where to shop, just be looking at where that produce came from, how it was processed. Shop in the perimeter, try and get the healthiest fruits and vegetables you can find, but knowing again that those are nutrient depleted, and that is being proven by science over and over again. And all the additives that are putting our foods to keep them to survive longer, if you like, we're just eating junk, basically. And this doesn't affect our life. It doesn't affect on our blood sugar, which to me is the crux of being healthy, is keeping that blood sugar in fat-burning zone. So let's just take a look at your packets a minute. I did explain in the packets what the blood sugar, insulin, and glycemic index are, so hopefully that's easy for everybody to understand. It kind of captures what I've talked about: insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity. It gives you an idea how your body actually works, and I hope it's in a language that most of you can understand. There is a printout about blood sugar balance, what it is, what insulin is, what cortisol is, and how important to keep these in balance, choosing organic food. And then some little swaps for low GI eating, which is low glycemic index. You can change off a white potato to a sweet potato maybe, white rice to quinoa, pasta to spaghetti squash. And I served up a spaghetti squash meal, and somebody said, that was delicious. And I said, well, it wasn't spaghetti, it was spaghetti squash. And they had no idea. So the items on the bottom of this particular page are not available anymore. I did put an article, like I said earlier, about what makes a good omega-3, because sometimes we're confused. Our ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 is way off, and we need to have a good omega-3. There's a little colored print out there, the pumpkin spice, if you should want to go that way. Last week I gave out bake-in recipes, and if you look in the website, you'll see all kinds of recipes to use the shakes if that's the way you want to go. So investing in wellness, have it your way. A guide to personal wellness is available on the Give Back Hope website if you choose to go to that site. That would help the children in Malawi if you should purchase anything. So that's how you get to that. And then the invite, if that's what you're interested, I can certainly do a one-on-one consultation if you need it. If you don't want to share your personal concerns, you can just privately go on the site and take your weight profile and try and figure out what it is you're deficient in. And the other one is the Go Trim website, which is free, and there's so much information on there that would be available and beneficial. So just to finish up, I want to talk a little bit about next week. We've done sleep, we've done detoxification of the body, and a little bit of the mind. This week we've done process to progress, and the simple changes we can make to make our lives healthier. You don't have to do it all at once. Just find one thing and kind of focus there. So next week we're going to look at something totally different. I probably will not have a screen. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this yet. But I'm looking at teaching a little class on bondage broken, which is freedom from compulsive habits. We all have them. We all give credit to them. We all excuse ourselves for sometimes our behaviors, the way we think, who we are. And really, we've been lied to. Satan has done a great job of lying to us and making us feel unworthy, in that we can have peace for our souls by taking a drink, smoking, sexual things, food, whatever it may be. Some of the habits that we have, Satan has told us those are okay, and he has lied to us, and he's taken away our ability to trust the Lord to overcome anything that is a challenge to us. So this little book that I'm going to be talking about is called Bondage Broken. We're going to get into some scripture next week as to why we do the things we say we don't want to do, or we decide maybe next week I'm going to do this every day. Next week comes, the alarm goes off, you just snooze it, you carry on sleeping or rolling around or whatever it is you do, and you don't do the things that you dedicated to do for that week. And the flesh takes over, and the spirit, it's ignored. So we're not giving God the glory. We're not giving God the ability to help us and heal us when we constantly, oh, I'm a critical person, that's who I am. And don't change that habit. That's not who you were created to be. Oh, I like my snacks, I can't give up my snacks. The flesh is talking, and we have to give the power back to the Spirit, to the Lord, so that He can help us overcome those things, those habits. And maybe I'll print out some scriptures that we can look at, and look at what drives the compulsion. Are we really telling the Lord that we don't believe in Him enough, that He can heal us, that He can take these habits away from us? And we keep justifying our life and not paying attention really to what he is doing for us and saying to us. So I don't feel completely ready for this class. It's not to do with nutrition. It's not to do with health and wellness in a way, but I think it does have a place in the habits that we have created for ourselves and that we continue to justify. So I'm going to try my best attempt next week to share that with you. I thank you all for coming. I hope it was helpful. It's a lot of information, but I'm here if you need me, and if I can answer a question, I will. I don't take questions because I've been recorded, so it's hard to come around with the mic and get the answers, but if you need anything, my number's up front here. Just text me, and hopefully I'll get back with you right away. Thank you.